What's going on, man? Another beautiful day down here in the sunshine state of Florida. I want to get on here and talk a little bit about what you always hear. What are you hearing on social media? You're hearing a lot on social media about truckers leaving, they're quitting, they hate it. Just ain't no loads. The trucking industry is a recession, and my take on it is that the way I look at it is OTR. Yes, I mean I can't say it's a recession. I'm not saying that there's no loads out there because I don't do OTR. I'm in food service. I'm in the food service space. Work for a local food service. A lot of people don't want to do food service. That's why food service is always hiring. I always tell people, food service is always hiring. We get all these new guys come in left and right. They always ask questions, man. Like, dude, I've had my CDL for a couple years. Been looking LTL, looking local, and the only thing I can find is food service. Why is that? Well, nobody wants to work food service because the physical part. Nobody wants to, do the physical part. Nobody wants to run up and down the ramp throwing cases. Nobody wants to do that. Yeah, you get a good schedule. You're home every night, but it's physical. Digging for cases, running up and down the ramp. That crowd's physical. It's taxing on the body if you don't take care of your body, get enough rest. Stretch, eat right. But for those truckers that are saying that there's a trucking recession, trucking is dead. Nah, not all trucking space. There's a recession. Trucking is dead. Like I said, maybe OTR, maybe LTL, because they all rely on, the freight. They all rely on these big corporations or big businesses to ship out freight across the country. Now, when it comes to the food service space, the way I look at it is, it's not a trucking recession. Food service, to me, is not down. I've done research from where I'm at in Florida to other states. Food service is still hiring. Might not be every food service company, but you're going to find your one or two food service companies that are hiring because they just can't keep people because of it's a physical demanding job. Or, I ain't gonna lie, that food service company might pay you well, but the management might just be no good. Treat you like crap. So that's why they can't keep nobody. But when it comes to OTR, LTL, I guess the loads are not there, or whatever the case is. So that's why I think that people are saying that it's a trucking recession. The trucking industry is dead. Now, I can't say the whole trucking industry because, like I said, you have food service. Whether if you're running a ramp or whether if you're using a lift gate, you have your local food service companies that are still hiring, and you have some local beverage companies, delivery beverage companies that are still hiring. So at some point, you might have to look at if you're doing OTR, whether if you're owner operator or if you're a company driver. I already know if you're owner operator, of course, you don't want to look at, oh, man, think about, selling your truck and going to work for a company. But if you're a company driver, you're over the road and you're not getting any loads, you're just sitting at that truck stop waiting to get a phone call, email from a dispatcher saying, hey, I got a load. Maybe, while you're wasting all that time, it's time for you to make a pivot. Maybe you pivot into maybe looking into your local beverage company or pivot into looking to local food service. Yeah, you might not want to run up and down the ramp, but hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, to make a living, to put food on the table for you and your family. So sometimes you might nail that local food service company where they're just looking for a shuttle driver. You're just shuttling trailers from the warehouse to the drop yard. So you never know what you might run into when you do your research. Just don't give up on trucking, especially if you've been, working for, OTR company or an LTL company for, 10, 15, 20 years, and you feel like it's just dead. No. Then another thing. If you've been in the trucking space, the way I look at it, regardless if you've been owner operator or if you've been a company driver for, 15, 20, 30 years, if it's slow, in my opinion, you still should be all right. Because if you've been in trucking for all that time, you should have enough money saved, put away to the point where times is different now. It's not how it was. Trucking is not how it was, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Times is totally different now. So if you haven't put enough money aside for retirement or just for the rainy day, it's like you did a disservice to yourself, being that you've been in that trucking space all those years. Regardless of what job you have, we have to put in our mind that this job could be gone today. It could be gone next month. It could be gone 2, 5, 10 years from now. No one cares. Corporations, they don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care. All they worry about, they're gonna make that dollar. They're gonna make those cutbacks, and that's it. So that's what you have to think about when you get in a trucking space. Hey, it might be good. You might be running hard, running good, maybe running good for the last 5, 10 years. Oh man, it's beautiful. It's great. Oh man, yeah. Oh yeah, trucking has changed my life. Hey, yeah. For a lot of people, trucking has changed their life. Same thing with me. Trucking has changed my life. You know what I'm saying? I've been driving, 6 years, but I've been with this company 9 years, and it has changed my life. It's, like I said, it's a hit or miss. I'm in food service. Some days I go to work, I'm having good days. Some days I go to work, I'm like, oh my gosh. But at the same time, you have to, in this space, the trucking space, you have to work and save your money and invest your money, because when it comes to trucking now these days, anything's possible. You might go to work for 5, 10 years straight, man, living it up, and just that 1 month, they close the doors without even notice. So, hey man, be smart, man. Don't let what you hear on social media get to you, and do what you gotta do. All right, peace.